When I was starting Good Time Music Academy, I wanted to make sure that I really stood out. I had a proper brand, a proper business. I had a sort of type of feel that people would associate with the brand. And this is how I want you to start thinking about your music school. Don't just think that you go get a logo and pick a few colors and that's your brand. Brand encompasses so much more. Think about how people feel when they associate your brand with things, when they think of your brand. How do they feel? I know for Good Time Music Academy, we wanted to focus on community, bringing people together, having a good time. It's literally in the name. We also wanted to focus on training people well, getting great musicians to come through as students. And so one of the elements of being a good musician is having good timing, right? So it was kind of a play on words. Have good time, time, tone, technique you often hear musicians talk about, and also having fun. So we had that kind of double meaning in the name. We also wanted to make sure that it looked bright and colourful, and so we wanted to attract younger kids, so we'd get them to stay for 10 years, and so we wanted to make sure it appealed to young people, but it wasn't so babyish that it looked unappealing to teenagers and adults. So as you can see, as I start to unpack some of these thoughts, the depth that actually goes behind a brand. So that's one level, is how do you want it to, to kind of feel to you? What is important? How should it feel to customers that look at it? What does your logo look like? Does it pop out? Have you chosen the right colors for the type of feel that you want to have? All these sorts of things tie into your brand. And as you grow and you start to get stature in the community, people start to know you, your brand becomes more and more important for you to reinforce. So if you want to be known as, hey, we are the friendliest place in the city for music lessons, well then you need to make sure that all your systems and your staff are trained to make sure that is the most friendly place. You want your logo, your colors, everything to come across as friendly. Now you can't just say these things and then not think about them or have a designer try reflect them. So down below there's a bunch more notes thinking about the brand and how you should start to action this. One of the things you're going to do is you're going to just brainstorm all the thoughts, like what is important to you? What type of school are you building? How do you want your students to feel? How do you want the parents to feel? How do you want the teachers to feel? What sort of colors are you looking for? Is it bright and colorful, or is it rich and classy? Write down all the things that come to mind, and you're starting to build together a design brief, which you're going to give to a designer, and you're going to want them to create for you a great color palette. You want several options to choose from. You want a great logo, and you want what we call brand guidelines. So once they've determined kind of, the logo, the colors that you like, you want something that's going to be your brand guidelines. And what that means is you're going to get and I'll put some documents down below of things that I've had done recently. You're going to get a set of fonts to use. So it means in all your marketing material, your website, your whatever sort of promotional documents you might use, you want to make sure you use the same colors, the same fonts. So this is the upgraded branding for Good Time Music Academy. They actually changed it when they took over, the team that took it over when I sold it. But you can see here, everything kind of looks really nice and the same. So these are their colors. Their team actually wears yellow tops and this kind of, I don't know what you call that, sort of greeny blue color. And so that's right through the building, the signage, everything, all the promotional flyers. Then they'll have, this sort of style with these three colors and this block font. So they'll use this on all the different design stuff that they have. Then they have this different imagery of this, and they got an actual illustrator here to make these amazing kind of music buses and different imagery, cartoons. You got notes there and other things through, this weird little octopus with a microphone. And you can see they will actually have their brand guidelines will say, hey, use this font here and this font here and this font here. And so maybe they'll actually give you 3 or 4 fonts and say only use these ones because they're all paired together nicely. and use these colors. And colors come in a little, what they call like a hex code, and so it's literally a number that you can put in, and that's the color that you use. And so if you use something like canva.com, that's a design software online that's super simple, you can actually load in your branding. So you'll load in your fonts, your colors, so every time you design something, use the same stuff. So that starts to tie into the brand guidelines. So you can see here's a different flyer, same cool logo, same colors, same sort of style, cartoons, fonts, imagery. You get the idea. So down below you'll see some examples of brand guidelines, and this is what you're going to be asking your designer to create for you. And as we go through the section of branding, there's some other things we're going to take a look at in more depth. But here, your big goal is to basically develop your design brief for your brand guidelines. So you're going to be handing something to a designer, whether you're going to give that to someone you already know, whether you're going to do it yourself and use this brainstorming time to get you started in the right direction, or you're going to use something like Upwork.com or Freelancer.com or Fiverr.com. These are all sites where you can find freelancer designers, and there's plenty of others, but that's where I would start, one of those. And you can get people to submit all their different ideas, take the best one, work with them, refine it, get it to where you want it. And then from there, a lot of the time you should be able to take it yourself and just work with it. So that kicks off our section for branding. As we move in to the next lesson, I just want you to keep thinking big about your brand. You want it to really look professional. So when you think about it sitting against all the other studios in your area, choose something that stands out and really positions you as like, wow, these guys look like they're really taking this seriously. Because if you start to lead with that confidence, people will actually follow you and you'll do much better. So I'll see you in the next lesson. But for here, your big action is to start writing your design brief for your brand guidelines.